but quite early on in your career, you moved.
Yeah.
You moved over to Jamaica, and a couple of years went past. Couldn't really find anything back then, like to see what was going on. And then out of nowhere, you start seeing the name pop up a bit more, and you're like, okay, so he's still doing it. Yeah. And I think first couple of years, I see him like see results and stuff. And he was around the same times, maybe a bit faster out there than he was over here. So it's like, okay, cool, he's making them improvements. About 2 years later, I think he would have been under 17 over here. 21-4, 10-4. This man tells me he's running it on grass.
Yeah.
I'm
What
like,
coach were you with?
It doesn't go like that. So I moved to Jamaica when I was 13, and I went to a private school first. And that was just because my parents wanted us to transition to the culture a bit easier, opposed to going straight into the public school system. And it wasn't for me, man. Like, I'm around it was an amazing school. I'm not discrediting the school, but I just couldn't really relate. No, I have a good family. DJ Armani can attest to that. But it was just like, they were like the most affluent families in Jamaica. Like, this is 2007. I'm seeing Hummers come into school, like Escalades, and like your fellow classmates are driving. I'm just like, I can't. This is not for me. Like, I couldn't really relate, and I also knew that it was very expensive. But my parents were forced to do that just because culturally. So I ran a boys and girls champs, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with. Yeah. And I got an opportunity to attend another school called Jamaica College. And then that's where it kind of really kicked off from there.
Oh, fair. So what was your first big competition? Like, was it when you were under 17 or was it under 20s?
Internationally or nationally? Or like at the time being in Jamaica?
Nationally, pretty much.
So boys and girls champs. So when I first moved to Jamaica, I was at Bel Air and I was at JC for a year. It's a transfer rule, so you have to sit out. So for that year, I was boarding in Kingston, which is like at that time, maybe an hour 15 from where I used to live. And that's pretty far when you don't drive and you're 14 years old. And I'm away from home at these times. I'm with a teacher. Good lady, you have our differences, naturally. And I used to travel maybe 40 minutes to get to school in the morning. And these times I'm in Jamaica, like I'm in Kingston as a 14-year-old British youth, standing out like a sore thumb. My dad's still getting me shoes size and a half too big. Them Jamaican parents.
With them shorts up there on your waist.
I got my blue uniform, my epaulets on. And, but I owe Jamaica College a lot to where I am today. So I was there for a year. I sat out for my first year. My second year, I started running. But it's like when you come from somewhere where you're fully embraced, and when you're the fast guy, you're the popular guy, so I was always used to having a certain level of social status among my peers. Moving to Jamaica, you start right at the bottom, and it humbles you completely because for one, you're British, so they automatically think you're soft, like SARFF soft. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of have to prove yourself. But you got to be careful how you do that because there's some serious people out there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I remember I went to school and then I was getting teased. They were like, British boy, whoop-de 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 whoop. And I said to him, man, go suck your mother. But look, this is me saying that, yeah?
With a British accent.
And I'm just frustrated at this point. You know what the man done to me? He slapped me in my face, took out a knife and said, pussy, me stab you, yeah? And I was like, raw, this is not like a joke here. I'm really out here.
In London, you would have just got back like
your
mom's fat.
In London, I wouldn't be in that situation though. Because man's not testing me. I'm already top man in my little year group. You know what I'm saying? I dictate.
7C,
I got first pick on the team. I'm team captain. In Jamaica, I'm getting picked last. You know the way there. It even
got from that as well, isn't it?
It humbles
being the main
you.
person
it
to
humbles you, bro. So you gotta learn how to move correctly. And you're trying to pick out your friends. And I remember I thought you was cool, so I'm partying with him. This youth's the biggest nerd ever. I was like, oh man, I friend up the nerd. You know what I'm saying? I'm a nerd, bro. I would never be the nerd.
It's your first friend.
Yeah, man.
It's your first friend. You got to let it roll.
And I wasn't even too enthusiastic to train, just because I never felt like I fit in. And I didn't understand the magnitude of boys and girls champ at the time anyway. Like, people are telling me, and I remember my first year there, I saw Johan Blake, Nickel Ashmead, them boy that Warren Way. I saw all them guys run at champs, and you hear their names, the front page of the article, and you see what they are today. But back then, you're just like, okay, their boys are running fast. But like, when you sit back and think about where you were then, it's like, oh, it's actually a much bigger deal, And I remember I was at a track meet, and oh gosh, it's like the roster's like 100 100 of us, right? And you pick what heat you're in. And I kept getting pushed to the back of the line. I was like, I'm in this heat. No, you're not. Like literally, you go back there, and I'm just going back. There's like 30 heats, bro. I'm in the last heat. But guess what the fastest time of the day? I did. And that's when I got a little bit of ratings, you know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, he dropped at time. The coaches start to embrace you just that little bit more. Your peers look at you like, they're not sure whether to embrace me yet, but I kind of put my foot in the door, and from then on in, I started to feel more appreciation from, not that, when you're young, you do want validation. You do want to feel involved, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm mentally tough now, but back then I was totally naive to the whole thing.
It's like football team and being on the bench every time.
Yeah, like...
No one wants to be on the bench every time.
Yeah.
Were you surprised?
No offense to Jones.
Were you surprised that, like, at that champs when you ran the time, were you surprised? Because it kind of... The way I've taken that is like, you weren't even really saying too tough in training to kind of say to yourself, well, nah, I'm gonna be in this race. Obviously, you ain't trying to argue with nobody.
I was... You know what's so funny too? So... You know who handed my medal at meet too? It was Morris Green. And Morris Green was a big idol of mine at that time. You know, we used to think that coming out sideways was the thing, and
that was the
your
vibe.
lips. Yeah, it's like
listen, this man, between Morris Green and Justin Gatlin, I've never seen someone like literally he would cover both sides of the lane for about 20 meters.
I used to think that was the way.
Ragged drive.
You just didn't know. You just trying to. You look at the best and you try to emulate the best.
These bony arms coming at you in the next lane. You're like, whoa.
Yeah, and I remember saying "goat," because he got the goat tail on his arm. Yeah. But look how life works. I have Morris Green's number on my phone today. Like, it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I've mentioned that moment to him, but he won't remember. So and funny story to that point. I know we've got a brief amount of time. I was Christmas 2009. My cousin and I were like best friends because we both went to like the private school together and we were the same age, so we naturally become close, especially when I didn't really have many friends at that moment in time. So we become naturally much closer. I'm at a hotel for Christmas and I go onto the balcony. Guess who I see standing there? Tyson Gay and Steve Mullins.
Idol.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and Tyson Gay legit is like the guy who I idolized growing up. And I was just like, wait, that's Tyson Gay. And go on my Facebook to this day, I got a picture of him, big V-neck, scrawny arms. You know what I'm saying? Like, taking a picture. And what's funny too, because I remember 2006 Crystal Palace, after Tyson won the 200, I asked for his vest and he gave it to me. So I still got
Do you still have it?
Yeah.
Still have that vest?
I still got that vest. Come on,
When I'm stepping in, 30 bottles of the zoo, tell them send them in. I had to